YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Warhammer 2, and I've got another 2v2 battle for you. But before we get started, Cygor has an important message for you. You see, he's got that rock up there because if you don't go subscribe and help me get to the 250,000, he's going to hurl it at your family and your house. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, please help me out. I'm trying to get to 250,000 subscribers. If we keep on the current course, we can get there in 30 days or less. You all have been a huge help the last couple of days. If you're watching the video and you're not subscribed, hey, jump in. I got Cygors here. You know it's going to be good stuff. Go help me out, please. Anyway, thank you for joining me in yet another battle. So, yes, this is going to be Beastmen and Bretonnia, so it's peasants and cows versus undead and dark elves. So it should be a lot of fun. There's another 2v2. I am playing as the Beastmen. Got my teammate here, which I believe is Puggington, and he's playing as Bretonnia. So he's going to be the leader of the peasants. So my army is obviously Malagor. You can tell by the fact that I got two Cygors. I brought the Cygors because the undead, you can do a lot of damage versus them with Cygors, and then the dark elves sometimes can bring really nice infantry or dark shards or something like that. So I figured the Cygors would come in useful in drawing the enemies into us and helping us give us some range. And I spent a lot of money on the two Cygors, and then I have 3 units of Bestigor Herd. Now, Bestigor Herd should be very formidable against any infantry that either the vampires or the dark elves can bring, and it's meant to serve as a punishing front line since Bretonnia can't bring one. So that's what I've got. Now, there is a field trebuchet for some additional range too. It can do some damage to infantry, so we've got a lot of anti-infantry capability from long range. And then in terms of dealing with large units or, you know, big enemies, monsters, we've got Albric de Bordelot, and here he is flying on his hippogriff, with his trident and all. He's looking pretty awesome there these days. And he's got a Royal Hippogriff Knight supporting him in the air. Down here we've got the Knights of the Lion-Hearted. This is going to be a Knights of the Realm with some nice flaming and magical, or sorry, it's flaming swords, but it doesn't actually imbue flaming damage. It's magic attack. So yeah, anyway, we got some Knights Errant right behind them. And let's go take a look at the rest of the Bretonnian army. There are some more Knights Errant there, mostly peasants and men-at-arms up front. There are some peasants with fire arrows and pox arrows, so a nice mix depending on what we come up against. Then there's the Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis over here, which is a nice errant with a little bit nicer stats, so, and Frenzy, which ought to be nice for him. We got a peasant mob and then some Grail Knights, so quite a lot of cavalry here for Bretonnia. And then I have 3 Ungor Spear Herd, and of course Malagor the Dark Omen, and I should have brought Viletide, but otherwise the only magic that I've brought is the ability to summon up another Cygor, so it's going to be Savage Dominion. So I intend to summon at least 2 Cygors during this battle. Now back here I've got 4 Centaurs and 2 Warhounds with poison. They are hiding. Now let's check out the Dark Elf army. This is going to be Malekith up on his dragon. He, down here on the ground, has a Sisters of the Singing Doom Witch Elves, which has Madness of Cain, Murderous Mastery. Very cool unit there. And then there's some regular Witch Elves here, a couple of Blackguards, so there are some good targets for my Cygors. 3 Bleak Swords up front. I almost said Black Elves, and I'm like, what? It's not a unit. Dark Shards, and then Black Arc Corsairs with hand bows in the back line. The other units for the Dark Elves, which should be interesting, is a couple of Cold One Chariots. So, nice armor-piercing missile damage that they can do, and then armor-piercing anti-infantry damage when they get into combat, so an interesting unit to say the least. Could be good against a heavy infantry build. The vampires have a bit of a mixed build here. A couple of skeleton spears. There's a main line of Graveguard. They're backed up by a single Cryptor, a Terrorgeist, and then Manfred von Karstein on his Hellsteed. Is that? I believe that's the one that flies around like that. Zombies and a White King to help buff up the leadership of the Graveguard, and a Claw of Nagash Mortis Engine for support there in the middle. More spears on this flank. And that is going to be pretty much it for the army layout. Let's see how this one plays out. I need to be patient with my units back here. Try and kill stuff like their skirmishers. The vampires won't have any skirmishers, so otherwise, Centaurs in these numbers combined with the poisonous Warhounds will be very good at taking out stuff like chariots or a landed dragon, and then rear charging infantry. They have tremendous charge. So my Cygors and the Trebuchet have opened fire. I've already scored a big hit on these Blackguard and Nagaron. And after a couple of volleys, just look at the damage you can do with the Cygor. That is tremendous damage to a very expensive unit from extreme range. And I'm just waiting. My magic started at like 9 winds of magic, so I can't summon a second Cygor just yet. You can see Bretonnia doing a little maneuvering here. The vampire count's moving a little bit to her flank, though they are not well equipped to fight cavalry here. None of our enemies are, honestly. Here comes the Knights of the Fleur-de-Lis. They're going to send those bleak swords back into the next dimension with that charge. They don't stick around to really imbue much damage, but it looked good. Look how far some of those bleak swords got chucked. That was quite a body chuck right there. So over here there were some peasants that just got tangled up with these chariots, and at this point now my opponent can see my giant my giant herd back there. My Bestigors will do very well against these bleak swords. There's Blackguard behind him though, and I'll need to be able to fight it. But I wanted to go ahead and get in and start crushing infantry. You can see Albric and his Hippogriff Knights looking for targets. I can see a couple over here that I know I would love for them to take care of. This Bestigor herd, I see these Sisters of the Singing Doom, and I know that I might berserk, but this is definitely not a fight that these Sisters of the Singing Doom would want. So I do go ahead and take that fight since they've wandered so freely into my territory, and you can see that Bretonnia is looking to take them out at a convenient moment too. So definitely a mistake in the management of those Sisters of the Singing Doom. You can see I've gotten the attention of the Dark Elves. This is what we want over here though. We're grabbing attention. Doesn't necessarily have to be for any big reason. Just leaving my Ungors, and I'm really focused on my Cygors right now. What are they targeting? And you can see that we're going for the other Blackguard. My Bestigor herd easily cuts through all the bleak swords. And now we've got another Witch Elf here, which if it gets engaged, it's going to be a poor engagement, yep, for the Bestigor herd. I'll be happy to take these engagements. The Bestigor herd will engage well versus the Blackguard and the Witch Elves. And then I've got these units back here. They're kind of too blobbed up. I should spread them out a little, but it's just easier for me to micro this way. I'm just going to plow in and take advantage where I can, and then get out. So the Blackheart Corsairs' handbows are gone. You can see Bretonnia here bringing in these Knights of the Lion-Hearted. They'll cause really good damage versus the Cryptors, so that is a nice matchup. You can see my Ungor Spear Herd and other units just kind of holding units back. Just holding units back. So I've got 3 Cygors up because of the summon, and Malekith decides to attack one, and I'm like, hey, if you want 1 Cygor, why not have all 3? It's a 3-for-1 sale, Malekith. You get more than you bargained for. So right now my Bestigors are engaging Bretonnias all over the battlefield and really doing quite awesome, to be honest, with their Hippogriff Knights at killing the right targets. They see Malekith here and know that he's a target. I summoned another Cygor though, which immediately dropped my other one, which is, I didn't realize that would happen, so that was a mistake on my part. That's obviously been patched and I hadn't paid attention, so that you can't go too crazy on the summons. So big waste of one of the summons by me, but we get some really good work done on Malekith here, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn around, and I started actually targeting the Claw of Nagash. I should have been continuing to put a beating on Malekith. He is trying very desperately to get out of there, and then the Peasant with fire arrows getting a hold of the Terrorgeist. Same thing with the Pox arrows. We'll take anything we can get. That Terrorgeist, though, is not too shaken by any of that. And the Vampire is just struggling to get a good break. My Bestigor here, herd there is owning. Over here the Bestigor herd is owning. And then I think one of my Bestigor herds finally succumbed to attrition, but not... no, I've still got all 3. This one's almost picked up a chevron, same thing there. So they're doing really good work. We're able to get the Blackguard out of the fight, so my Cygors have accomplished their means here. Look at that. Woo. Albric right there with a nice wind spell, taking those, and I think that's the one that's attached to his trident. I can't remember the name of it right now, but got rid of a whole bunch of vampires. Manfred's working hard to try and clear it out and get out of there, and he will get back airborne. The Claw of Nagash is being held back for whatever strange reason. This one needs to get up here and engage. It's just taking fire as it is, and it's in danger of being hit by the Knights of the Lion-Hearted and some of these other units. But if it can get up here and just help start, ripping through the hit points of our units, that's what it's going to need to do. I've got my giant group, though. I can see that Claw of Nagash, and I want a piece of it, so I'm going to try and work my way around to it eventually, but I see an opportunity here to clear out some Dark Elf infantry. Wanted to help out with the Bretonnians, get that cleared out, and then the Claw of Nagash will become my target. It's now moved up. You can see it's going to start doing some important damage to my units. One of them terrifies immediately. My Cygors are now going to go start trying to bust the skull of the Terrorgeist. Another Cygor went down over here. It was my summoned one. These two Cygors, just trying to get some work done in melee. Their weapon strength's not ideal, but it'll get the job done. That one being poisoned, you can see the significant difference in weapon strength. Over here, those chariots were there, so I just mobbed them with everything I had to get rid of the chariots. And Malekith was there too. We mobbed Malekith, and Malekith is now gone. And not a great engagement for Bestigor Herd, but the Claw of Nagash was stationary, so we're able to get it. All in all, the Cygor combining with Bretonia's air power has been pretty effective. We shut down key enemy units from range, and then Albric and his hippogriffs able to shut down key units. And then on the ground, it's a very dangerous place. There's knights running around everywhere. There are Centigors running around everywhere. It is a horde of cavalry, so any enemy flying unit that lands finds itself in extreme peril. Extreme peril because of the Warhounds and the Centigors. That combines to a whole lot of anti-large here. Look at all that anti-large. Just brutal. It's actually being imbued by Albric. I was going to say, that shouldn't be on the Centigors. Yeah, it was being imbued. Whew. Yeah, that gets ugly. That was actually not planned, but there you go. If you ever got Albric together with some cheap units like this, the amount of anti-large that he could deal would be absolutely absurd. Let's take one last look at my little Rohirrim of goats and hounds here. Goats, Centigors, goats. Where they? I guess they kind of look like goats. Claw of Nagash is really the only thing left here, and it's not going to be left for long. There goes the Trident ability, so the Claw of Nagash is down. Ooh, I love those sounds and stuff. Sounds so good. Manfred was being very difficult to kill. You can see that him and his Terrorgeist, even though the claw is gone, they continue the fight. There's Albric. This is a mosh pit of proportions which have never been paralleled, and a very nasty one to be in. Everything here now has anti-large because of Albric's presence. Yikes. Yikes. Yeah, Albric combines nicely with a lot of things, and in this case, combined very nicely with my light cavalry and his own units. A pretty clear victory for us this time in the 2v2 as Puggington takes my side and pulls off some very nice play with Bretonia. Some nice kills here on the Knights of the Lion-Hearted. Good work with the Grail Knights and other units, and then Albric, 92 kills for almost no damage, 53 kills on the Hippogriff Knights. And then on my side, the Bestigor Herd definitely did what I needed them to. They were damage dealers. And then this big group back here didn't have to do a ton of work in this particular battle, but they served their purpose, which was the enemy can't ignore them. They're going to be brutal. And then the two Cygors basically clear the road for my Bestigor Herd, right? That's the purpose of this build. The Cygors beat the crap out of elite enemy infantry from a distance, or skirmishers, whichever one it needs to be. You beat up those badly from a distance so that your Bestigor Herd can do the work, and then the extra pressure from having all of these light cavalry in the background. The weakness of this army, though, of course, is that, you know, if there was a bunch of big monsters, like a couple of Hydras or something like that, I would have to get in there quick with the Centigors and the Warhounds to try and hold that kind of thing back, because it would not be ideal for stuff like Bestigor Herd or Malagor to do much about those types of units. Anyway, I do hope you all enjoyed this one. I'm going to go ahead and sign out for now. Again, if you want to go ahead and subscribe, help me get to that 250,000 goal, I would appreciate it. And if you enjoyed the battle, not for me, but for the other players here, if you liked what they did and enjoyed watching it, go give a thumbs up to help say thanks to them. And I appreciate them playing Serpent Fang and Survivor X Clone here. See the kills on Malekith's units there. He was struggling in that battle. And then the Survivor X Clone, that Claw of Nagash sat idle for a bit, but I mean, they had a lot on their hands to try and take care of. It was going to be a very uphill battle here based on the combination of Albric with this stuff. So, loving these 2v2s. I need to play more of these. It's a lot of fun to kind of think of the different combinations. Beastmen kind of combined nicely with Bretonia here, with Bretonia basically being able to provide some serious gooning action with the hippogriffs and albric, and then some ground support. And then I put together a little bit of a front line, and then lots of speed, and then a little range to top it all off. So fun stuff to try and combine those. Anyway, like I said, hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing out. I will see you soon.